I always happy to receive questions after my talk. And question, if you like, written question, if you like, direct, no problem. The only problem, sometimes you see the question too long. In order to start the question, there are a lot of lot of sentences. That may be too long. So short sentence directly, most welcome. My long-time friend, Vice Chancellor, and others are respected teachers, professors, and then essentially I always refer brothers and sisters. That's the point. Different appearances, different sort of status, different professions, all these are secondary. Important is we all same human being. In fact, the very topic, my talk about human value, on that level, we are talking about human level. So here I'm talking to you on that human level. We are mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. It's quite simple. The way we born, I think royal family members and beggars, I think same way, the way born. And also the same way die. So that shows we are same human being. On that level, every human being wants a happy life. Do not want problems, do not want any disturbances. Then most important, every human being have every right from birth to achieve happy life. So, we human being, as a social animal, no matter how sort of educated, how powerful human being, one single human being, which cannot survive lonely. Our survival entirely depends on the group of the community. That's why we call social animal. Other animals, including some insects like ants or bees, by nature, they become like social animal. So individuals' survival entirely depend on rest of the community. So essentially, we also like that. But sometimes this human brain, smart brain, sometimes it creates wrong perception. I'm powerful. For my sort of survival, not depend on other. Actually, wrong perception. So now, since humanity as a social animal, so biologically, we equipped certain emotion bring together. That's human affection, human love. The opposite bring together that is anger, hatred, suspicion. even small sort of the community or small sort of family. In the family, more compassionate sort of feeling there. The whole member of the family feel very happy and real sort of friendship there. Because love, compassion bring together. When one of the member of that family constant angry, jealousy, distrust, then anger destroy friendship, unity. And the whole member of that family then no longer any sort of pleasant sort of feeling, happy feeling. That's very clear. Even animal, like dog. When a group of dogs familiar each other, sort of genuine friendship, then they live peacefully. One dog may be physically a little bit stronger, then bully other dogs, then wherever that dog come, other dog run away. So that's biological factor, nature. So therefore, the subject, human value, I always talk on that basis. On that level, 7 billion human beings on this planet, same human being, as I mentioned earlier. No point to divide. No point to quarrel. On that level, we can develop big we humanity. We humanity of this planet. Whether we like it or not, we have to live together on this planet. We have to share nature's oxygens, sun rays and rains. No discrimination. Entire 7 billion human beings, including many animals, many insects, we all share together. So that's the fundamental reality. So now, realize that oneness of humanity. Then other level, secondary level, differences of races or color or religious faith, nationality, difference of views or political system, economy system. These are then secondary level. Within same nationality, even same faith, if you further go, still we find basis division. Firstly, I think rich and poor, or influential or uninfluential. So many sort of, the factor make differences. Then, that also true. But important is the ultimate truth. We are same human being. We should not sort of forget the oneness of human level. Neglect that or sacrifice that in order to gain some benefit on secondary level of the differences. I think problem now 21st century we are facing still this century we are facing some problems. If we analyze these problems, of course besides nature disaster, but many problems essentially our own creation, man-made problem, or men and women made problem. Sometimes some female also you see make contribution for that problem. Isn't it? So in any way, human creation, many problems. Meantime, no human being want problem. No. I often you see telling, even those people whose life quite sort of troubled life, a lot of problem facing. Even these people, when day start, in morning, when they wake up, I think everyone hopes and wish, oh, this day, less problem. I think nobody at the beginning of new day feel, oh no, today I should have more problem. Nobody. Those believers pray to God, today I should face more problem. No. Oh, at least this day should be peaceful, happy day. Like that. So, at the same time, a lot of problem, essentially, we ourselves create. So what is that contradiction? I feel because we too much emphasis on secondary level of differences when we face some problem. For example, people who belong to that nation or this nation, sometimes this is some conflict. Or even if, you see, within believer, they say, believe this religion or that religion. Some sort of, let's say, different views, different interests, some conflict there, source of conflict about to rise. Then think we are same human being. Think more on that level than these causes on secondary level, then becoming not much significant. I think today's reality of the world, firstly, environment issue brings entire human being now should work, should take care about environment issue. Environment is a global issue, global warming. Then the global, or say the economy, national boundary of different religious faith, so no relevant. So these new sort of reality so really now creates oneness of the planet, oneness of humanity. So sometimes I feel reality, 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, even early part of 20th century, reality of that time and reality of today much changed. So our perception, still the century-old sort of thinking. So gap, reality, our perception increasing. So that's why we humanity looks facing unnecessary problem. If we act according according new reality. With fuller knowledge about the reality, I think then that way, you see, our approach become more realistic. Realistic approach brings satisfactory result. Even you want to hit someone, approach must be realistic. Analyze the other sort of the situation. Then find out the weakness of that. Then that's the target to hit, isn't it? So without anger, without biased sort of attitude, unbiasedly, objectively, look the reality, study, analyze, then take action. It would be realistic approach, and whatever you want, get, see, satisfactory result. No matter what our goal, marvelous, as the virtuous way, sambo. So virtuous sort of object or goal, wonderful goal. But method and motivation, also very good motivation. But method, way of approach become unrealistic due to lack of fuller knowledge about the reality. Then, because our approach become unrealistic approach, we never get a satisfactory result. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, nobody want a problem. But many problems, our own creation. Why? Much our approach is unrealistic approach due to lack of knowledge about the reality. Because lack of holistic view. Clear? So once we analyze the basic nature of a human being, I believe the nature of sort of our being, right? Firstly, our life starts from our mother. Then, according some scientists, after birth, next few weeks, simply mother's physical touch is most important factor for proper development of the brain. That's a human nature, physical nature like that. Then those children who received maximum affection from their mother and from their family members, the children, deep inside, much sort of happier. And that experience remains whole life. I think in this hall, perhaps few hundred people, on surface, everybody very smart. Deep inside, those individuals who received maximum affection from our parent, particularly from our mother, and grown up full of love, because the atmosphere of love, or because of the affection. I think such people, in deep inside, much sort of feel of because of the security or feel happy, peace. Even some little disturbance come, they can easily face that. That those people at the beginning of very, very young age, beginning of our life, young age, lack of affection. Sometimes parent even sort of bully, abuse, like that. Then, no matter successful life, deep inside, some kind of sense of insecurity. sense of fear. With that, sense of distrust with other fellow human beings. So whole life disturbed. So these are biological factors. And then furthermore, now brain specialists or scientists about health, medical scientists, now they begin realize the healthy body very much related with healthy mind. Constant fear, constant anger, hatred, actually eating our immune system. Other hand, calm mind, very helpful to sustain our immune system, our good health. And recently, I saw one article wrote by one scientist. People who often telling lie, in their mind, much anxiety, much stress. So that article, and the American here, from America, oh, I think that this is not my statement, but that article, you see, stated average American, every week, 10 lies. I think, more or less, I think everywhere is same. Unless you deliberately familiarize, truthful, honest. Otherwise, you see, they saying something nice, different thing, hypocritical way. This essentially some form of lie, isn't it? Even religious people, I think, like myself, sometimes I used to telling people while I give sort of teaching, unless you implement what you believe sincerely, seriously, otherwise religion, there is danger. Religion also, you see, teach us how to act hypocrisy, saying nice thing. Now, for example, Buddhist practitioner, we always say, entire sentient being, love to entire sentient being. But within sentient being, you also find some enemies and fight. That's hypocrisy, isn't it? Like that. So therefore, the telling lies, deep inside, some kind of, the anxiety. Wow. Honest, truthful, transparent. That brings trust. Trust brings friendship. We social animals, we need friendship. So thinking this line, eventually you will develop firm conviction. We are social animal. We entire human being are same, all have same right to achieve happy life. Once we develop that kind of sort of perception or conviction, then naturally, when from one corner of our own emotion, want to cheat, want to exploit, want to sort of harm, then that side of our knowledge tell, oh, this is wrong. This is very harmful for your own interest. Actually, practice or promote sense of concern of others' well-being is the ultimate result, good result to yourself, not necessarily other. So practice of compassion, sometimes you see people get the impression practice of compassion is something good for other, not necessarily to oneself. That is totally wrong. The benefit first go to the practitioner himself or herself. Then eventually others, under certain circumstances, others also then get some benefit. So you see, warm-heartedness, sense of concern of others' well-being, this is part of human nature, very important part of our survival, our happy life. Irrespective whether believer or non-believer, these are something very precious. So that I usually call human value. And it itself, secular ethics, nothing to do with religion. Even animal, those social animal, also you see, experiencing that. The animal, no religion, no constitution, no law, but biological factor like that. So there another sort of, I think the reason, person who feel calm always, even if some disturbances happen, they handle peacefully, logically, realistically. Such persons' body element also then more balanced, like that. So that's about the human value. Once we develop some kind of conviction and effort, you see, to cultivate these basic human values, then basic human nature is gentleness, I believe. Sometimes I jokingly used to telling people, look, our physical sort of structure. Firstly, look our teeth. Our teeth much closer, those rabbit or those deers, as they vegetarians. Our teeth not like tiger, lion. They are eating others' life, others' sort of body. And then look, our nail. Even cat, in order to sort of catch mice, by nature, they are physical, already equipped, certain sort of nail to catch. Or not. That our hand, I think, not good for hit. We deliberately need, you see, in order to hit like boxer, you see, you have to do like this in order to boxing well. So nature, this sort of shape is bring to embrace like that. So with that kind of the physical sort of form, I think through evolution, human life, more gentleness, social animals. I think originally, basically, we are type of vegetarians. So through that way, I think our physical sort of condition also accordingly developed that way. Then, as I mentioned earlier, emotionally, mental level, more calm mind, more compassionate mind, very good for our health. Anger, frustration, fear, very bad for our health. So then, basic human physical as well as mental, both, I think, more related, more closer, non-violence principle. However, in human society, particularly in modern society, where a lot of competitive sort of culture, like that, and then at the childhood level, age, very young age, childhood, at that time, I think human values are very alive. gradually these are basic human values dormant, while our brain further develop. Then brain, there are two types. One, knowledge related with our sort of feeling, warm-heartedness. One, knowledge only outside. Existing modern education is actually oriented about material value. So then eventually, through education, our brain becoming more sort of, how should I say, activities. And with that, influence into society, too much competition, and then jealousy, then it's distrust. These things happen. So that intelligence sometimes overwhelm our basic goodness of human being. So I often, telling or expressing, now modern education should include some sort of lesson about basic human values. That also based on secular basis. That's why it can go with a secular education field. And then violence, non-violence, not mere absence of violence. Non-violence very much related with sense of concern of others' well-being. Mentally, that kind of sort of feeling, sense there, non-violence automatically come. Mentally here, full of hatred, full of anger, then even sort of some nice word is hypocrisy. It is not non-violence. And non-violence, we should not consider signs of weakness rather than signs of strength. More self-confidence, then can use logical approach. Too much fear, then usually anger comes. Then our brain, the part of our brain which usually analyzes the situation objectively, now that part of brain cannot function properly. So therefore, peaceful mind here is the ultimate source of non-violence. So non-violence and compassion, these two things are very much sort of linked. Out of compassion sort of feeling, little harsh word, little sort of harsh physical action, essentially non-violence. Out of anger, out of suspicion, and out of you want to deceive other people, or want to harm other, use nice word and give some sort of gift. Apparently non-violence, but because of the negative motivation, so essentially violence. So the real demarcation, violence and non-violence, is not based on, does not depend on appearances, but ultimate mental attitude. So now today, a conclusion, the 20th century become a wonderful century. In 20th century, we humanity develop a lot of innovations already. Innovations, some new things, particularly in the field of science and technology. Wonderful. At the same time, the 20th century eventually becomes century of bloodshed. According to some historian, 20th century, over 200 millions of people killed through violence. So that century become like century of violence. if that immense amount of violence, if really brought better world, safer world, no, that not happen. The beginning of this 21st century, some unhealthy sort of development in here and there, these are actually symptom of past negligence and past mistake. Therefore, I usually call expressing 20th century become century of bloodshed, create more problem instead of solving problem. So long human beings remain on this planet, human being with sophisticated mind, human interest in economy in many fields increasing. So these are source of conflict. So now what we should do is, when we face about conflict due to different interests or different sort of views, then we have to find peaceful ways and means to solve that. That's dialogue. So that's a non-violent way to face the problem. So therefore, this 21st century should be century of dialogue. Whenever we face some problem, our immediate response from our mind should be, how to solve this problem through talk, through dialogue. Previously, when we face some problem, how to solve this problem by force, that's a mistake. So that's about non-violence. Clear? So I think I fulfill my talk about human value and non-violence. Thank you. Now questions. Thank you. I'm always happy to receive questions after my talk. And question, if you like, written question. If you like, direct, no problem. The only problem, sometimes you see the question too long. In order to start the question, there are a lot of sentences. That may be too long. So short sentence directly, most welcome. My long-time friend, Vice Chancellor, and others are respected teachers, professors, and then essentially I always refer brothers and sisters. That's the point. Like ants or bees, by nature, they become like social animal. So individual's survival entirely depend on rest of the community. So essentially, we also like that. But sometimes this human brain, smart brain, sometimes it creates wrong perception. I'm powerful. For my sort of survival, not depend on other. Actually, wrong perception. So now, since humanity as a social animal, so biologically, we equipped certain emotion bring together. That's human affection, human love. We are same human being. On that level, every human being wants a happy life, do not want problems, do not want any disturbances. Then most important, every human being have every right from birth to achieve happy life. So, we human being, as a social animal, no matter how sort of educated, how powerful human being, one single human being, she cannot survive lonely. Our survival entirely depends on the group of the community. That's why we call social animal. Other animals, including some insects, like different appearances, different sort of status, different professions, all these are secondary. Important is we all same human being. In fact, the very topic, my talk about human value, on that level, we are talking about human level. So here I'm talking to you on that human level. We are mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. It's quite simple. The way we born, I think royal family members and beggars, I think same way, the way born. And also the same way die. So that shows the opposite bring together. That is anger, hatred, suspicion. Even small sort of the community or small sort of what's the family. In the family, more compassionate sort of feeling there. The whole member of the family feel very happy and real sort of friendship there. Because love, compassion bring together. When one of the member of that family constant angry, jealousy, distrust, then anger